Brother Nashi, how are you? Please hide me, and I want you to read this story using your own voice. Do not share my voice note. Please hide my voice, my brother. I am a Zulu man and I am staying in a gated community. There are times when I even feel like it is better that I just end my life. There are those that enjoy life in this neighborhood where I am staying, and I resent them. When I see someone happy in their life, when I see someone enjoying, I feel so resentful towards that person. Brother Nashi, I am the worst of all human beings. My story began, it was in the year 2007. Back then, I was a nobody. I was struggling to even put food on the table. There was a lot of misfortunes that had befell our family. First of all, I was not the eldest in the family. I was the third born, and my father had invested in a lot of money in the firstborn. You know how we are as black people. The firstborn is supposed to be highly educated. Then when he starts to work, he can assist the parents in sending the siblings to school. That was the investment that my father and my mother had did, but it turned out to be a very bad investment. My brother, he was very intelligent in school, and we thought that he was going to end up being a doctor. And when he was in university, that was when he forgot where he had came from. Instead of him focusing on his studies, what he started doing there in university was that he started to date women that were not of his class, and this gave him a lot of pressure. Whenever our brother will return back home, what we did not know was that our brother, he was busy stealing from white people's homes, and he would go into the farms, the farm murders, if you know about them. My brother, he is arrested, he is in prison because of that right now. He got involved and they hijacked a white farmer, and then they killed the farmer. So my brother, we never even thought that he was involved in all of those things. We just thought that he was busy focusing on his studies. He thought that he was too intelligent to do his criminal business and then continue with his education without even studying at all. He started to fail in ways that we could not even understand. My mother, she would feel so hurt whenever that would happen. When my mother will hear that my brother is failing at school, since she was sacrificing quite a lot, she would even cry, thinking that there was someone who was bewitching my brother, but there was no one who was bewitching my brother. When we heard that my brother had been arrested, it was a terrible thing as a family that we had ever had. The news, when it reached us that my brother had been shot, but he did not die, and he was in police custody. What had happened at that time, Brother Nashi, was that my brother went out with his friends, and then they started to follow this other white man who was a farmer. As they were following that white man, they then tried to kidnap him. He also tried to fight with them, and they shot him. Not only shooting him, they dragged him into his yard and they made him to sit on a hot plate so that he can tell them the security code to his safe, but he was refusing because of the gunshot. There were others that had the gunshot. When they raided the house, they saw that my brother and his friends, they were still in the house and they were firing back, but that white man had already been killed. When this happened, it destroyed my father. He became a drunkard. He even stopped going to work, and this affected us, those that were still growing up, because my father said that education was useless, and he wished that he had married another woman who was not my mother. It was something that was so painful. My mother became an alcoholic because of that, and I grew up struggling because my mother, she was an alcoholic, and my father did not care about us at all, for he had given up on us. As I was growing up, I became friends with Mozambicans because I stopped going to school, and then I started working when I was still very young. When I was going to work, I became friends with Mozambicans Mozambicans that I was working with in the Indian warehouses. There was one friend who was from Mozambique, and I used to speak with him quite a lot, and he knew that I was someone that loved money, and he said that one day he was going to take me with him to Mozambique. And I was afraid. The first time I went to Mozambique alone, I was afraid to get buried alive. I said, if I die here in Mozambique, who is going to tell my mother that her son died in Mozambique? It is far much better that I do it with my brother. So I returned back to South Africa, and when I got the opportunity, that was when I spoke with my young brother who died in Mozambique. I told him that there was this other traditional healer who could assist us, and if he wanted, we could go together. He told me that he was in and he wanted us to go together to Mozambique. So then we went to Mozambique. It was me and my brother. I already knew the directions because that Mozambican guy, when I went with him, he said that he did not want to return back to South Africa. He wanted to settle down in his village. And then we went into that village. When we were in that village, even my brother, he said, I'm going to die in this place. It was as if he knew that I had brought him so that he can die. And we had taken the last of the little money that I had saved. This healer welcomed me back, and he told me that he was going to do whatever that he could so that me and my brother, we can return back to South Africa as kings, so that we can be able to build our own big businesses, to build a big house, and to have a lot of money. He said that he was going to assist us using a ritual, and this type of a ritual, you are buried whilst you are still alive, like what they had done the first time. He said that time when you came here, there was a grave that was already dug up, but I can't let you use that grave anymore because there is something that I am doing with that grave. So what we are going to do, you and your brother, you are going to be digging your own graves. We had to dig 2 deep graves. We took 3 days, me and my younger brother. I was digging up my own grave, and he was digging up his own grave. It was side by side. He said that we were going to be buried, like buried alive, cover it with soil for only 3 hours, and he was going to place bamboo reeds in our mouth so that we could breathe, but our bodies were supposed to be fully covered with the soil of Mozambique so that we can be able to communicate with the spirits from the underworld, and then we would sign a contract in the land of the dead, and if we survived, we were never going to be poor ever again in our entire lives. So Brother Nanshi, after we had dug up the graves, then we were told to climb into the graves. This was done at midnight, and the soil was so cold. Being buried, it is not an easy thing. You can think that you are just going to be buried and you are going to wake up and everything is going to be fine. When they buried us, they had already made some coffins, and these coffins that they made, they just use a village carpenter, and then they put a long bamboo stick so that you can be able to breathe. I started to panic the moment that I saw that I was closed up and I could not tell them to stop piling the soil on top of the coffin. That was when I started to panic. I was even crying. The fear that I felt as I was being buried alive, that one I can't even describe. The darkness, you think you know darkness, but you do not even know darkness. This darkness, it suffocated me. I could even hear my own heart beating like a drum. And then I started to breathe. And my young brother, he was buried right next to me. It felt like forever, until I started to hear people digging up. And by then I was hungry, I was starving to death, and I was feeling thirsty. They got to the coffin, and then they gave me some porridge. This porridge that they gave to me, they said that it was going to heal me because I was already starving, so it had some herbs. They then made me to lie down underneath a tree, and I waited for them to dig up my brother. But they were so slow. The way that they were digging up my brother, the Sangoma told me that he already knew that my brother, he had passed away. And when they reached the place where the coffin was, they opened up the coffin and they saw that my brother, he had already started decaying. I cried. They told me that I was supposed to see my brother for the last time, and for me to know that indeed the Sangoma was not lying. What he was telling me, it was the truth, that my brother, he had passed away. That was a very painful moment in my life when I saw that indeed my brother, he had died. There was nothing else that could be done. I even begged him to bring him back to life, and he said that God had already taken his soul and my brother was dead. I cried so loud and they let me cry for hours and hours. I was just crying, Brother Nashi, and then they told me that it was time for us to bury him. They then put him back into the grave, and after that we started to bury him, and that is how my brother died in Mozambique, and he was buried there in Mozambique. When I returned back, Brother Nashi, I went to KZN. I wanted to tell the family that I had gone with my brother to Mozambique and he had died there. I was afraid to tell anyone until both of my parents, they passed away. They never found out that this is what happened to him. I then paid a Sangoma from a village which was close to the village where I do come from. I paid this Sangoma a lot of money so that he can fake like a prophecy, but I did not tell him the full story. I just told him that I wanted my father to have at least closure, and for him to tell him that my brother, he started to lose his mind and he was just wandering in Joburg, somewhere in Joburg. So that is what this Sangoma then did. The Sangoma came and he spoke with my father, and he told my father that my brother was never going to be found. My brother is mentally ill, and it is for the best for us as a family to just let it go, because it is the work of the ancestors. The ancestors, they are the ones that decided that this had to happen. My brother is mentally ill and it is being caused by the ancestors. So my father, he died with a little bit of closure, but it was not true closure. It was false closure, because he was told that his son was still alive and he was running mad somewhere in South Africa, yet he was buried there in Mozambique. That is the truth, brother. I used to know where his grave was, but as for now I have forgotten, because these graves, they were in a rocky place close to the mountains. So once I did these rituals, what I did not know was that this ritual, it is not a one-time payment. It's like when you subscribe. That is what it is like to be in a contract with this devil that I have been getting money from. So after each and every year, I am supposed to go there to Mozambique. When I go there to Mozambique, Brother Nashi, because now I do have a construction company, so usually I go to Mozambique somewhere around July, August or October. That is when I go to Mozambique. When I go there, then I have to give the sons of the Sangoma some money. Then they buy 3 goats in that village. So these goats, they stay in a room, and this room, they keep these goats for 7 days. During those 7 days, I am supposed to sleep with these female goats, and they are supposed to be white gods that I have to sleep with at all the times. It is the most shameful thing that a man can do. I am a man that have money, a big construction company that runs some contracts in KZN as well as in Durban, but the people that work for me, they don't even know that their boss, once each and every year for 7 days, he gets on his knees so that he can sleep with a goat. If I do not do this, my businesses, they will start to run to the ground. Things will get so bad in my business and I stop making money at all. So I have to follow these rules as I was instructed by the traditional healer. And when I do this, there is something bad that happens. I have to sleep with these gods until I develop like an terrible infection, an STI in my private parts. It is a spiritual disease that no sangoma or any doctor can cure. So for 5 months after returning back from Mozambique, I will be having an STI, and when I pee, it will be like I am peeing fire. And sometimes the STI, it makes my thing to smell quite a lot. So I am forbidden from using herbs, even traditional medicine, or going to the doctor. I just have to keep it. So in those 5 months, if I am dating you, I just pass that STI to you, and I am supposed to sleep with a lot of women until I would have healed. I am tired, gents. I'm so tired. I have a good life, but I have no peace. It is not easy to have this infection. There are times when I have a dream, and in my dream, it's like my manhood is falling off, and I'm scared that it is going to happen one day. I want to quit. I want to confess to my family members, the ones that are still alive, that I know where my little brother is buried in Mozambique. Not like I know the place, but I just know the country where my brother is buried. Do you think that my family will ever forgive me for such wickedness? I am not wicked, brother. It just happened that he died. I don't know what kind of mistake happened when he was being buried. Maybe there was sand that entered into that bamboo stick such that he could not breathe properly, but God decided to save me and for my brother to die. This is what happened. Please do not do money rituals. I feel so scared to those that want to do money rituals, because they don't know that some of the things they will come across when they go to Mozambique to do money rituals. Yo, dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our dear brother. Strange things indeed they do happen in this world. Let us try to speak with our dear brother in the comment section. You're being buried alive for the sake of money. Yeah, name. I'll be back with another episode.